And you were watching this play out live right along with the rest of us. You've spent a lot of time in Ukraine. What did you read into what you heard? And you and I were talking before they came out on that stage and talked about the fact that Russia now has 20% of Ukraine's territory. And obviously that falls into the category of what we think we heard from President Trump here. Points left, one pretty significant point. I would gather, once we learn the details of this, the significant point likely involves much of that land and who is going to get much of this 20% of this territory that Russia fully intends to hold on to, and that Ukraine has signaled it's not willing to give up.
Yeah, I think there's far more that we don't know than we do know after that press conference. I think many people were sat, glued, watching the TV, waiting to hear what the announcement was, and are rather perplexed now. I think the cynics would say there was much ado about nothing. There was no mention of a ceasefire, and for now the war continues. There's no indication that the guns will stop firing, the drones will stop flying, the ballistic missiles will stop landing on civilian buildings across the country, and the trenches will continue to shoot at each other on the front line. So there's no, at the moment, in the details that we have, there's no indication of an immediate relief for the Ukrainian people. President Zelensky will be waiting for that phone call from Donald Trump to find out what it is that they did discuss. As you say, Vladimir Putin indicated there was an agreement. President Trump didn't go that far. He said there's no deal until there is a deal. So what are the details? And if you can't even get to the first stage of agreeing, which is what Ukraine have been pushing for, with American backing, with the backing of the so-called coalition of the willing, Britain, France and Germany, as well as other allies, that you start with the ceasefire and then you go on to negotiate all those difficult details about what you do with the land that Russia's occupying, what do you do with the 20,000 children that have been taken by Russia, how do you resolve reparations and all those issues. That was supposed to be the way that this happened, but they didn't. As far as we understand, even get to a point where they could agree a temporary ceasefire, a temporary cessation of hostilities, and that is going to be deeply disappointing to many people here. If you're sat at home with your children close in arms, worrying about whether or not the drones will start flying again tonight, you just heard no relief at all.
So again, 7:16 here in the East. We're going to stay on the air until 7:30 to see if we can get any more reporting on this. Ian Pannell, of course, our chief foreign correspondent, who is in the capital of Kyiv, reporting on how Ukrainians are likely going to receive this news, that even though President Zelensky was not at the table and they were not happy about that, they were very hopeful that President Trump would be able to convince Vladimir Putin to at least establish a ceasefire. President Trump made that very clear on Air Force One again today on his way to Anchorage, Alaska, that he wanted the ceasefire and he wanted it today. And he said if there wasn't one, he would not be happy.